Johnny here. I'm back. I've just finished waxing the car and I'm pretty excited to tell you about the do's and don'ts because I deliberately did some don'ts and not so deliberately as well. And I want to share that experience with you. I also want to review overall final opinion of what I have about a liquid wax. I'm really surprised. I was not at all expecting a whole lot out of this. It's a wax I picked up at Costco and FW1. Actually overall I like it quite a bit. I probably rated a 8 out of 10, and I can't put a final verdict on it until I come back to the paint in a week to see if the wax is still on, and then check it again if it is 2 weeks later, because I don't want to wax the vehicle every single week ideally. However, with spray wax you actually could wax your car every time you wash it. If you're washing your car once a week or once every 2 weeks, this was really easy to apply. And even when I did it incorrectly, because I'm a guy and I'm gonna admit it, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't like reading instructions. I love watching YouTube videos, but I don't like reading instructions. And I didn't read the instructions all that carefully. It did say to spray it directly onto a terry cloth, or ideally a microfiber cloth is what it should have said. And I find that sometimes instructions aren't giving necessarily the best advice. Like on this can here, it's saying to put it on a terry cloth. I put it on my microfiber cloth the second time, but the first time I waxed the vehicle, I did the entire wax job. I did have to lean up against the vehicle in a few spots. For example, the hood on a Mustang is quite large, so I had to lean up on the vehicle. So I'm really happy that I didn't have any belt buckles or any rings or watches. It was incredibly easy to apply. Even in spraying it onto the vehicle and removing it 20 seconds later, can said 10 to 20 seconds. Being that it's not as warm out today, it actually took more like a minute before I could wipe it off. So I had my two towels. I had my wet towel and I had my dry towel, microfiber towel for buffing, and it went really well. I used a lot of wax because I shouldn't have been spraying it directly onto the car. I thought that would work out a little better because I wanted to use a lot of wax, but I'm really surprised I used a ton of wax and I really didn't have to, is what I would say. However, my biggest surprise out of the spray wax is the result it gave on scratches in the clear coat. Before I could see scratches in the clear coat from about 4 to 6 feet. I'm going to show you two of them. So right here on the back of the vehicle, if you want to come in and look closely here, this scratch here, these scratches I should say, were showing up at about 5-6 feet. Now I've put the wax in, and if we move back at 6 feet, they're barely visible, and before they're extremely visible. And I actually have other scratches that are much lighter in the clear coat that at 3 feet aren't showing at all, so I'll show you those. So I have this scratch right here in the clear coat, and that was a scratch that was visible at 6 feet and quite visible, and now at 2 feet it's barely visible. So I'm really surprised. You can see it's right in here. I'm really surprised that a spray wax could be that good. They must have gotten better from when I first tried them 15-20 years ago, because I'm really satisfied. I'd say for hiding scratches in the clear coat, I rated I'd say even a 9 out of 10. So I think it is worthwhile. I'm going to be worthwhile looking for a good spray wax. I'm going to be trying other spray waxes in the future to see if they do an even better job at hiding the scratches in the clear coat. But so far I'm extremely impressed. I'm very satisfied. Now back to the mistakes I made from not reading those instructions, or really not listening to the instructions on the can. Not the greatest listener. So I sprayed it directly onto the vehicle, but I was doing little sections at a time, waiting a minute because the instructions said 10 to 20 seconds, but when I'd go to wipe it, it was still wiping wet even with the dry towel. So ideally you want to be, taking a quick little run over the paint, and it shouldn't look wet anymore. Your paint should look, well, as it does when the car is dry. So I had to wait a little longer, and I did section by section. That went quite well. However, I used so much wax that my waxing towel was filled with wax. It was still very wet at the end of the job. My drying towel was fine, but I had a lot of wax left on that microfiber towel. I did it a second time, and I was hoping that would mean I would double the protection, or at least have it last twice as long. From what I've read online, there's no conclusive evidence to that. There's no proof to that. However, for example, Meguiar's Online does suggest waxing your vehicle twice, and the reason for that is you ensure that you get every spot. You don't miss a spot. So definitely haven't missed a spot. In the past, I found that spray waxes only last about a week to max 2 weeks. So I'm going to be curious to see how long this lasts. Now, if we go to the front of the vehicle, just while we're on the side here, what's great about the spray wax is you can easily get into tight spots. With a buffer, I would have had to put the buffer on the side, making sure that the buffer, electrical buffer, does not, or buffer that works on a pressure machine, I'd have to put it on the side, make sure it stays clean. Here with the towels, I was able to get into all the nooks and crannies really easily. And big takeaway, when you're using a paste wax, any plastic, and a Mustang has a lot of plastics on it. You see the black plastic down here, and on the front, it's on the back of the vehicle, and on the front. Those plastics are absolute nightmares when you're using a paste wax. When you're using a paste wax or a hard wax, if your buffer, when you're applying, touches any of those plastics, it's gonna streak white, and you're gonna see it from 20 feet away. It's gonna look horrible. With the spray wax, I'm really impressed. The spray wax, I touched it a few times with the really wet applicator, my applicating microfiber towel. I touched those plastics several times. I have not a single white spot. Had I been using a wax, I would have only had one solution to getting those white streaks off. Maybe it's a well-known secret, but it's a nice little trick. You buy an eraser, a white eraser like we used to have in school. So a little white eraser, and you just lightly run over your white wax marks, and it's going to come right out. So that's a nice little trick to getting your plastics clean if you were doing a paste wax. Now with the spray wax, as I mentioned, my plastics are unaffected, so I'm thrilled about that, and that's one of the reasons why I'd rate the first spray wax that I'm trying, FW1, that I got at Costco. I'd rate that 8 out of 10, because the thing that bothers me the most about a wax job is the plastics. Now, I'm cheap and I like doing things myself. I like saving money. I don't like paying someone to wash and wax my car. I don't like paying a couple $100s to get that done, and I enjoy doing it. So I like saving the money. I enjoy doing it, but I absolutely hate having those white streaks on the plastics. And over the years, I've always been using a paste wax, and that's always the results I get. But today I'm thrilled. I found a product, the wet wax, didn't affect my plastics. I even used it in my windows, and I've used a wet wax before, a spray wax, and generally it helps bead the water over the windshield. So I've applied it on the windshield and it didn't leave any streaks, so I'm quite pleased with that. And I was able to do the whole car. Now, had I not done 2 coats, and had I just sprayed it lightly into the towel and done it section by section, it's about 15 minutes to 20 minutes after the entire car is perfectly cleaned. So removing the wash time, if it's just purely waxing the vehicle, I can get it done in 15 to 20. It would have taken a lot longer with a buffer, which is another big tip and trick, I'd say, with a spray wax. Feels like I'm cheating because I got it done in about 15 minutes per coat. So 30 minutes in all. The car's looking great, silky smooth. It's I'm going to be testing it from memory. It's not quite as smooth as had I done it with a paste wax. And I'm not going to talk to you about how the wax smelled. People who are reviewing different spray waxes seem to always talk about the smell of the liquid wax as if it's important. Quite honestly, if the wax is great and if it doesn't mark up my plastics and it's easy to apply and easy to remove, quite honestly, it could smell like crap and I'd still use it. I don't need a good smelling wax. What I need is a good wax that protects my paint, looks great, and I'd say, you know, other than these stone chips that I still need to correct, the car's looking great. I'll be reviewing and going over some tire shine, because in the past I've used some tire shine that after your first drive out, the dirt seems to stick to it even more. But this is tire shine I put on a week ago, And I just washed today. I didn't apply any more tire shine, and the tires are looking great. So you know, that's something I'll be reviewing in a future video. So just to conclude quickly, I enjoyed the spray wax, the liquid wax. I don't have a favorite one. I'm going to be trying 5 to 10 brands and getting back to you on that. But I do enjoy the spray wax. I'm really pleasantly surprised. Really easy to get in the nooks and crannies of the car. Didn't affect the plastics. Unbelievably easy to apply. Anyone can apply this. Anyone can do their own wax job with the spray wax. So that's what I loved about it. Fast and easy. And let's just see if it sticks out and toughs for more than a week. So I'll be back with news on that. Thank you. And if you liked the video, sorry about the dogs in the background. You got to keep them close, otherwise they're upset. But thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you want to see the upcoming videos that I'm making, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot and encourages me and keeps me going. If you have questions, comments, put them in and I'll try to get right back to you. Thank you.